You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the podcast mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast.
Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better, and today I have Stephen Hall with us to be invested in. And Stephen, please, thank you for being a guest and give my audience just a quick rundown of who you are.
Hi, my name is Stephen Hall. I'm a financial security advisor. I've been in this industry since 1996, so 25 years. And basically, I help families and small business owners with their financial security needs. So, you know, that's a pretty vast topic. So maybe what we could do is go and talk about that throughout this interview.
Yeah, I would love to. So let's take a look. How did you, we spoke earlier in the week about how you got started in the industry, and it was quite interesting how you went from, no worries.
Yep. Okay, hold on. I'll just, okay. I'm just gonna mute that because
no problem.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Oh.
If you have to take the call, take the call. It's quite fine.
No, I'm just going to, what I'm going to do is I forgot to turn all these devices off. So I guess we'll have a bit of editing to do here.
I will have some editing.
Actually, nice. If I may, I'm just going to ask if I can switch, seeing as it's audio only.
Yeah, if you want to switch, go ahead. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm going to change to a headset. Mic is off. Mic on. Hold on. I guess I got to go to.
I can hear you. You can't hear me, right?
I can hear you.
Okay, and I can hear you.
Okay, so where's my?
I can't hear you anymore. You're muted.
One, two, 1, 2.
Excellent. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Excellent.
All right. So sorry about that.
No problem. All right. So as I was saying before, we talked earlier in the week about how you got started in the industry, and it was from actually doing cold outreach. Well, not really cold outreach. You were reaching out to a client who, because you worked in the men's suit division of a store,
right,
and you were reaching out to a client about, because he was of a unique size, he was a unique person, so he was kind of an ideal client. You were taking care of him, and he got you an interview working in pretty much in the door for the financial industry, correct?
Well, exactly. So it was actually a very interesting story. I worked in menswear for about 10 years. And I was working for a very large Canadian retailer, which is still exists, and they had a menswear department in downtown Montreal. I was I had a regular clientele that I always dealt with, and it happened that a lot of these people were either bankers, insurance people, people in financial, in the financial industry at different levels, and of course everybody wore suits back then, so uh, suits and ties. So we so I had this one particular client, and he was really a great client. And he would come in. He was difficult to fit because he was very tall and a little bit large. And so when I got new stock in with his size, I would phone him and say, "Hey, look, we have." We have stuff for you, and why don't you come in and see it? And one day he said, listen, you've sold me so many suits and things over the years. I'd like to introduce you to a friend of mine in the office. Would you be interested? And I said, sure. Not cluing in right away to the fact that they were connecting me with the recruiter in the office. But so I said, sure. And they said, so the guy calls me and he says, what day is your day off? And I said, oh, my day off is on Wednesday or whatever. And he said, come into our office at 9 a.m. and I'd like to meet you and talk to you about, I'd like to meet you. So that was that. And so I went in and they did all their aptitude tests and everything else. And they said, you are perfect for our industry, of course.
I think everybody probably at the time was perfect for the industry. If you could sell something, they're like, you're perfect for the industry. Welcome.
Yeah, that's right. So based on that, I went through my training. I went through a lot of training with them. They did a lot of one-on-one training. They did some group training. We did all the training for the licensing, of course, which was the most important training.
Mm-hmm.
And by September of 1996, I was fully licensed for life insurance, and I handed in my resignation to my former employer. And before I knew it, I was in the insurance game. What happened there was it was very interesting because when I left the menswear business, I collected my client list and I brought it with me, and I made a point of connecting with a lot of my existing clients early on. So this is one of the biggest challenges that people have in joining our industry is either you're going to phone every friend and relative and cousin that you know
Mm-hmm.
to get them to buy an insurance policy, or you got to go a different route. And I was very fortunate to have a solid client base that I was able to connect with in the first few months of the business, and I did so, on a regular basis, and I managed to hit all of my targets early on, and that actually convinced me that I could be in the business for a long time. I don't think I even thought of it as being like, am I going to be here for 10 years? I think I thought of it as, this is an interesting business to be in, and you get to meet people and you get to understand what their lives are about, and so it's really something. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, no, that's great, and it's interesting how you were able to take the knowledge and the connections you had from your previous job and help you create the success that you had in your current role or your new role, and then a little later on, you started working for another. I'm not sure if you want to mention it, but a large financial institution that does insurance here in Canada, usually where most people started their career in the industry, because my father started there as well. There was a little issue where you decided to leave because of the new program that was being started.
Yeah. So basically what happened was I was with one of the big insurance companies. Well, actually, I'll mention it. I was with Sun Life Financial in the 90s, and they became a shareholder held company. and so did many of the other mutual companies at the time. So they acquired Clerica back in 2000, and moving forward, they gave Clerica the responsibility of running all of the distribution operations. So that included the financial centers with the agents in it. And so myself and a lot of the advisors were, basically encouraged to join Clerica at the time. And but many of us felt that it wasn't the most ideal situation. So we stayed with our original Sun Life contracts, but we had basically the financial centers were closed down, and we were left to fend for ourselves when it came to
You were given
like,
to the wolves to see if you could fight off and or
that's
survive.
that's right. So we myself and some colleagues got together, and we uh, we set up our own office independent of we set up our own office and basically became brokers with contracts with many of the insurance companies, which is what we had been doing for a while anyway. And we associated ourselves with Hub Financial, which is a huge broker in Canada. Hub Financial is, all across Canada. They support over 6,500 independent guys like myself, and they provide us with plenty of resources, training, different. Which I guess different training on different concepts, and we work closely with the insurance companies and the investment companies as well, and they help us. They have internally they have management people that are coaches and mentors, and they help associate you with other brokers that can help you on certain cases. And so it's a really, really good place to be. I'm really happy that I ended up here. So I've been with Hub Financial since basically 2001.
They
And
sound like an awesome company to be associated with in the industry. I know my dad probably, if he was still in the industry, would probably be working with Hub
yeah.
because they're their full support. You get to get the business, and they get to support you and grow. Everyone gets to grow together. A very symbiotic relationship.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, having been in the industry for this long, I'm often approached by other companies and other agencies and other brokerages, and asked if I would want to move over there. And it's like, yeah, they might. There's that whole thing of the grass might seem greener on the other side of the fence, but at this point in my career, I feel like, well, I'm happy where I am, and I don't feel the need to make a big change, and so and I think I get proper service and proper backup from the people that I work with. So it's great, and I've been with like I said, I've been with them for a long time, and they've everybody from head office right down to the people that work at the local regional office that support our uh, our operations are really helpful and really involved. So it's really good.
I love hearing that. I love how companies support their workers as because it is kind of an I'm guessing more of an independent contractor type agreement you have with them.
Yeah, exactly. So how it works is basically I'm contracted, or I have my insurance contracts with my different insurance companies, held through them. So how that works is, if I sell, let's say I sell, a Manulife policy, an Empire Life policy, a Canada Life policy, whatever. I bring it, I bring the business to them, and they send it off to the carrier, but they support the process afterwards. So like if there are requirements, medicals needed, information, they follow up on all of that
They take care of all
for us.
the hard work. You go out and get the sale in the business, and they're like, we'll take care of the data entry parts so that you can
Yeah,
concentrate on what you're good at, make helping clients grow their protect their assets and that.
exactly. And you know, and the thing is because they are a large independent managing general agency. If they were an insurance company themselves, as far as the volume of premium goes, they'd be like the fourth largest company or fifth largest company in Canada. That's how much business they actually manage. So when the brokerage is like ours, when they have an issue with a company, the companies listen. It's like,
Yeah, it's like going to your big brother and going, they're not listening to me, and you have Hub come in and they act as the big brother and gets things done for you.
exactly where we're able to get certain things moving forward that otherwise might have not happened. So it's very helpful to have that kind of support.
I can only imagine. And how did they support you? Because COVID obviously changed the way you do business. I know from having my father in the industry, it was a lot of face to face meetings,
Oh
and
yeah.
because of COVID, obviously face to face meetings couldn't happen. How did that change, and how did you guys? How did they help you support you with digital transforming into a digital kind of agency?
That's a great question. So our industry was stuck in the 1950s or maybe the 1980s.
Yeah, I would say the 80s. They had email at least.
Yeah, we had email. So the 90s. But yeah, basically what happened was because of COVID, the companies that already had electronic applications in place with the ability to do what we call non-face-to-face. So like, someone could be in I could be in my office in Ville Saint Laurent, Montreal, and I could be quote unquote seeing a client that's in even somewhere as close as the South Shore of Montreal, and but doing it electronically over Zoom and stuff like that, and we'd complete the application form together, and we could submit it, and they had in place the ability to sign the document electronically using a tool called DocuSign,
Mhm.
or there's other tools too. There's Adobe and so on, and so what Hub noticed was in the first month or two of COVID, the companies that had electronic applications and those systems in place, well, magically they got all the business, and the other 20 companies, that sort of had their electronic application on the back burner for the last 20 years, kind of dusted it off and figured, oh, maybe we should do something here with this. So the one thing I must say though is like Hub Financial, the brokerage at the beginning of COVID, because everything was up in the air and nobody knew what was going on. Um, they decided to have a management meeting with all of us brokers daily on either WebEx, or I can't remember which platform they were using, like either WebEx or Zoom or something. And we were able to get like from them, basically what are the latest instructions from the regulators? What are the latest instructions from the government? What are the health protocols? What are we allowed to do? What are we not allowed to do? So every day at, I think it was 1 p.m. Eastern time, we had basically a meeting with management, and then they stretched it to every couple of days, and then it went to once a week, and now it's every 2 weeks, and it's good because now what they've done is they've used it as a platform to reach out to us. They ask us, what do we want to know about? And they'll put together presentations based on we're asking about, and concept meetings or practice management meetings, or even something as simple as how to use Zoom better, or how to use uh,
That's a genius thing to do, because a lot of people were reluctant to rely on the web, because they remember it from the 90s and the early 2000s, where it's slow and not that
mhm.
great and annoying. So like now, but now we know it's gone from leaps and bounds, where we have these great, able to like see live, like barely a stutter in the connection of live videos, and how much it can help us move forward.
Exactly. And if I don't know if you follow the news on television, but look at all the interviews that the broadcasters have done. Every broadcaster has used the ability to use Zoom or of similar platform to interview doctors and specialists and politicians and so on, all through the pandemic. So it looks like that's going to stay, because now they don't have to send a camera crew out to interview somebody for 20 minutes, right? It's like they can do it over the net. And in our industry, look, everybody everybody that had basically a job where they were able to work from home, an admin type job, or some sort of career where, instead of working in the office, is if you had access to the cloud and your company's cloud system, you're able to work from home, conduct the meetings over Zoom or whatever platform, Teams or something. Hey, everybody had to do it for their own work. So now when we ask our client, look, can we just have a quick Zoom meeting for half an hour? They're not like all weird about it. They're like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. Because
I'm
it's
an
like,
expert.
yeah. And the other thing that I found interesting about our industry is, like, for years and years and years, it was always like standard to have, an office space
Yep.
with, the big mahogany desk and the whole nine yards, and, pictures on the walls and awards over there and all this stuff. And
The
and
cookie
now it's like,
cutter award style.
yeah, yeah. And now, clients don't care about that. It's like you can be operating out of, the spare bedroom at home with, like, stuffed toys everywhere, and like your kid's train set on the floor, and they're like, yeah, that's fine, because,
I'm
as
doing the
long as
same thing too. Like,
yeah, exactly, everybody's doing the same thing, right? So it's like, as long as, hey, I need to change the beneficiary on my insurance policy, as long as I can get that done for them, and I can do it electronically and send them the documents electronically and get them back electronically, and all the insurance companies have approved using electronic format. Well, hey, like, the industry has moved ahead 30 years in the space of, like, well, this all happened in the space of like 2 to 3 months at the beginning of COVID. Now the key is, now that we can go back to meeting people live, the question is, do do our clients really want to have to vacuum the house before we show up, or do
or
they just
spend
want to
money
do
on
a Zoom?
gas to come into the office, where I can just do a Zoom and it's saves us all
Yeah.
time.
Well, that's right. I don't have to spend time, traveling. They don't have to spend time traveling. I can have more meetings in one day because it's more efficient.
Hmm.
Hey, I remember stories of a broker working for another wealth management firm. I don't remember which one, but he had discussed in one of the industry magazines how he would give he would give iPads to his senior clients that were, the people that didn't like to go out. They wouldn't
Hmm.
go out at night. They wouldn't, they were older, and he taught them how to do FaceTime or Zoom or whatever with their grandchildren. So
Genius.
so Yeah. So
Jeez.
because, and they thought it was fantastic because it's like, hey, I can contact my grandchildren and do a FaceTime with my grandchildren. So then when he would call them and say, hey, look, can we do a FaceTime on your iPad? They go, sure, no problem, because then they knew how to do it, right?
Oh,
So then he they'd be all set up for email and electronic communication and electronic meetings, and he increased his client base in that cohort by something like 10% in the first year that he did it, simply because people thought it was great. And he was handing out iPads
yeah,
like
yeah,
candies, right?
yeah. Like the
So
if like the Royal Bank does something similar. Like they give you an iPad, or TD has done it. They give you the earbuds. They've done it, and it works for them because obviously they wouldn't continue doing it if it didn't work. So why
yeah,
not bring it to another industry? If one industry it's working in one industry, it's probably going to work in another industry. And the fact
that's
that
right.
he's doing it, it's like a twofold thing. It's helping their personal lives because they get to FaceTime with their families and see their families on a more regular basis, but also on his business side, he's got them so that he can do those more quickly. It's like the person who discovered the headset, the headset
Yeah,
to make calling, to the person who's holding the phone to their ear while they dial, to the phone being invented, to door and all that. So it's just creating a faster, more efficient way of meeting clients and getting business done. So saving everybody's time.
absolutely. Yeah, well, hey, it's like, what's interesting is this broker, he did this like about 6, 7 years ago. So this was like even like way before it was forced on us from COVID, right? So COVID is been in some ways a positive game changer for the industry,
Hmm.
because it's forced the industry to really reevaluate how it was doing business. And you know business owners are too busy during the day. Like if you're going to see a guy who's running an auto body shop, he doesn't have time to spend a half an hour with you at his office in the middle of the daytime. You have to, if you're going there, it's just to get a signature,
Yeah,
So if you can do your business with them over the phone or via Zoom,
you're
they
saving.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just one example. But like business owners, the best time to reach them, I guess, or I've always found is maybe at 5:30 in the afternoon, when the shop has wound down, or when the business has kind of, the employees have gone home and stuff, and they're in that space, that time space, where they're like trying to finish up, but they're not as pressured, and
Yeah, they're just closing the day down. They're just closing everything down, and they're still in bookkeeping type mode, but they're not rushed or anything.
yeah, and that's a good time to talk to them. And but now with so many companies doing staying on the remote work environment, and
Hmm.
we're going to see more and more of that. I know that Sun Life Financial announced just recently, it showed up in the Globe and Mail, I think yesterday, that they are going to be doing full-time flex.
Nice.
Meaning, yeah, so meaning that employees of the company that used to work in the offices, well, they'll have the ability to decide whether they want to work from home, work half a day, come in half a day, work, 5 days a week at home, 5 days a week at the office, whatever. It's like you don't have to.
Choose whether you're in the office or out of the office or doing half and half. That's
Mm,
brilliant.
yeah, and you're not like, you don't have to choose like a fixed pattern. Like it can change from week to week or from day to day, depending on what your availability and so on is. So
My turn for the awkward sound to
awkward,
come out.
interruption. Yeah,
Stephen, we're coming to the end of the episode. This is where I give all my guests the chance to let them tell my audience where they can find them and if they want to reach out and talk to you. So please use this time up.
great. Yeah, so I'm in Montreal, but I'm available to be found on the web. My website is sjhfinancial.ca, sjhfinancial.ca. I can be reached in Montreal at 514-747-6565. And I can be reached. So if you go to my website, you'll find my contact information. You can even book an appointment with me using the button on the website. It'll open up my calendar for my availabilities, and I can help you with financial security planning, wealth planning, people that want to do retirement projection, see how they're going to do. I often recommend people that are like 20 years away, 10 years away, 5 years away from retirement. It's a good time to think about it. Often when you're 20 years away from retirement, you have young kids, so it's not your top priority, but it's something that it's worth thinking about early on, because the better that you plan for it, the earlier, the better off you'll be. And after all, people don't plan to fail, they just fail to plan, right? So that's what it is. Yeah.
Finishing off with some wise words there, Stephen. Stephen, I want to thank you again for being such an amazing guest here on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Of course, in the show notes will be all the links so that you can reach out to Stephen and work with him. Always remember, everybody, to invest in yourself and have a great day.
Thank you, Phil.
Hey, everybody. I want to thank you so much for watching the show and listening to the podcast. As a thank you, remember, you can always head over to my website, philbetterinc.com, and get free 15 minutes with me to talk about how you can grow your podcast, how to monetize your podcast, or even how to start your podcast. I have helped lots of people, and I want to help you do the same for your business or just for your personal brand. So again, that is philbetterinc.com. Head over there, book your free 15 minutes, and it'll be a pleasure to help you out. Have a good night, and remember to invest in yourself.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.